Oh, kaboom! We are out here just
filming a boring video.
Yeah, this one's for fun.
No, this is the boring one, Mitch.
The boring one, yeah.
So there's gonna be no fish catches in this video.
Nope. Sometimes it's too easy.
So we were supposed to like get set up with the camera and then cast out and catch one.
But instead, we casted out 2 rods, 2 bobbers went down immediately.
But anyways.
Like it's supposed to happen, right?
Like it's supposed to happen. But anyways, this video is gonna be a boring, no fish catch video. You guys asked for it, and you guys asked for it in pretty much in every video. We're gonna shoot something, basically our favorite rods, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna show you guys basically, you know, what rods we like to use for what applications, and a little bit about that, so stay tuned. All right guys, so this video, all about our favorite rods. You know, I've been fishing with St. Croix rods for a long time. I love, you know, the best part about St. Croix rods is honestly, there's a lot of people who can make a good rod. There's very few people who have the warranty that a St. Croix rod offers you, which is kind of, for me, honestly, the biggest selling point on, you know, St. Croix rods as a whole, I would say, is just that warranty, right? I mean, I beat my stuff up. I use it literally every day, and I want a rod that, you know, I can bring back, no questions asked. I'm getting a replacement rod, right? So that's obviously a big thing for me, right? The 2 rods that I use more than anything else for walleye fishing. One of them, and this one's a couple years old. This is probably the longest I've honestly ever owned a single rod for. This is a St. Croix Mojo Bass, and I use a lot of this line for a couple of reasons. Number 1, they're just good rods. Number 2, I really like their actions, and I feel like for the price point, you can't buy a better rod, right? Yeah, does it say Mojo Bass on it? Yeah. Am I ever bass fishing? Not very much. But phenomenal rods for the price point. I mean, it's basically a $120 to $150 rod in the spinning rod series, I believe, and just phenomenal quality at that price point. So the first one I use a lot of is the 610 medium light extra fast. We'll see if we can get this to kind of show you guys here. Not sure how well those numbers are showing up, but basically the model number is a MJ610 MLXF, 6'10", medium light extra fast action, right? So
it's hooked up with the 610 as we speak.
And Mitchell's got a fish on 610. Anyways, I use this rod for a lot of light application stuff. Is that a big walleye, Mitch?
I don't know.
You need a net on that thing?
Nice fish. I don't need a net. I got it.
You got it? It's a nice walleye or what? Yeah, you need a net on there.
Thank you, sir.
Nice.
Sorry to interrupt the video here.
Anyways, we just got it all going on back here now, but that 610 medium light extra fast I use for a lot of like light application stuff, whether that's slip bobbering, or I use it for a lot of stuff where I want a rod to load up a lot, right? So there's a nice one there, slip bobber fish, 610 medium light extra fast. So that rod, I got this one tied up with a spinner rig for pulling spinners. I like that rod to load a lot because I want that fish to pull on the tip before it starts pulling line. But probably my favorite thing to do with this rod is honestly jig fishing. I like when I'm fishing light live bait jigs. You know, you're not ripping it real hard with live bait on. You're kind of going a little bit slower. A lot of times you're fishing lighter, 1/4 ounce, 1/8 ounce, stuff like that, fishing shallow. This is my absolute favorite rod for doing that. Great live bait jig rod right there. If you guys haven't gave this one a shot, I absolutely would. Or if you're looking to pick up some kind of new walleye live bait rod, is a perfect one. Lindy rigging, slip bobber fishing, jig fishing. It's a great model for doing that. The other thing I use this rod for is jig and wrap fishing. And the reason I use it for jig and wrap fishing, even though it's an extra fast, it's got a very soft parabolic tip. So this rod loads up extremely nice under weight. With a jig and wrap, you got a fish on?
Sure do.
The guy's just clocking them back there. Just clocking them. The guy's on a roll. I'm gonna net this fish for Mitch real quick.
Probably net this one too.
And then we'll continue our talk. Another nice northern Wisconsin walleye right there.
All right, go ahead and continue your talk.
All right, so yeah, jig and wrap fishing. You want a rod that loads up pretty good, and that's why I use that 610. If you're fishing with a jig and wrap rod that's just too stiff, you're not gonna be able to load that rod up enough to keep that fish pinned. It's kind of like if you're a bass fisherman and you do a lot of jerkbait fishing, that bait's real erratic, you're snap, snap, snap. If a fish bites and you snap that bait on a heavy action rod, that rod's not gonna load up enough to absorb the impact of you snapping and the fish biting, and you're gonna pull a lot of hooks out of fish. So that's the reason I use that rod for jig and wrap fishing. Awesome rod. It's probably honestly the most versatile rod in the lineup I use, hands down. And as far as lineup goes, I don't use a lot of different rod models. I basically use 2 different models of rods for pretty much every kind of spinning rod application fishing I do. So that 610 medium light extra fast, if you're getting into walleye fishing, you're looking at picking up a rod, that's a nice fish there, Mitchell. That's an absolutely awesome rod for basically almost every application. You do not.
Hooked up on another one.
This guy's just a walleye fishing fiend back here. All right, hang on guys, we got the jig stuck in the net still. You can flip that one in.
I got one.
Nice little rascal there. Oh, there he goes. Just an angry little northern Wisconsin eater right there. All right, so the other rod I use a lot of, and we actually just filmed a video on this today, which will probably already be out by the time you guys are watching this video. Maybe not, I don't know, but this is a 6'8" medium extra fast. No medium light on this one. This is a medium weight rod. Now I use this rod, as you can see here, for a lot of heavy snap jigging applications. This jig's not heavy, it's a 1/4 ounce jig, but when I'm snap jigging, I like something that has a little bit snappier, a little bit firmer tip. And the reason that is because when I'm fishing this rod, basically what I'm doing, I'm getting it out there and I'm popping real hard, right? And if you fish with too light of a rod, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get a lot of tip vibration. After you pop, that tip's gonna kind of woo in place for a little bit if you do that on a light action or a medium light action rod, or just a cheaper rod in general. So when I'm snap jigging, I want a rod that's a little bit stiffer so that when I pop, that tip doesn't move that much. And basically what that does is if your tip's moving a lot, basically you wanna take all the variables out of fishing, right, when you're trying to fish. So I don't want any line movement after I pop that jig, because I'm feeling for that walleye to go boom right on the end of my line. So whenever I'm snap jigging, I like this medium extra fast action rod. The other thing I like this rod a lot for is if I'm bombing like ripping wraps or something like that. Like in Green Bay, if I'm fishing for huge walleyes with a heavy bait like a ripping wrap, I use this rod a ton. It's my favorite one for doing that. It's a super sensitive rod. And for the price point for fishing heavy jigs, I really don't think you can get a better rod. 100% on that. So yeah, that rod, that's basically what I use that rod for. Sometimes if I'm fishing like big sucker minnows late in the fall on like a 3/8 or a 1/2 ounce head, fishing deep rock, I'll fish that rod too. But for the most part, I don't use that rod as much as I do that 610 medium light. I love that rod, super versatile. I actually love both rods, super versatile rods. But yeah, that 610 overall I use for a lot more applications. And yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else here, Mitchell. Reels, line. So reels, we've been fishing Piscifun Reels for a number of years now. Things are absolute tanks. I was skeptical when I started using them, but there's nothing to be skeptical about. They're awesome reels, awesome quality, great price overall. This is the Carbon X 2000, my absolute favorite reel. $70 reel. It fishes like a $150 reel. You can probably see a theme here. Everything I like using seems like a greater value than what it is at that price. So I'm not just here talking about some extremely expensive reel telling you it's the best. I'm talking about reels that are great reels at a great price, and great rods that are at a great price. So basically for 200 bucks, you can have yourself a phenomenal walleye fishing or really multi-species, anything spinning combo, right? And that's why I like these setups a lot. I pretty much run 10-pound braid in all my jigging application stuff, all my Lindy rig, all my slip bobber application stuff, and that's what I do. So I know you guys ask a lot of questions about this kind of, you know, what kind of rods we're using, what kind of reels we're using, all that kind of stuff. You know, another thing I get asked on guide trips quite a bit, I'm not sure if it's a big YouTube question or not, but you know, on the end of my braid, I always tie in a fluorocarbon leader. You know, the clearer the water is, the longer I tie. In kind of dirty water, I might tie in a 2-footer. In real clear water like we're fishing today, I'll probably tie in about a 6-footer, and I go 12-pound fluorocarbon. Even in super clear water, you know, sometimes if it gets super finicky, it might go down to like 6 or 8 pound, but not super important. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. Hope you guys enjoyed watching Mitch sneak a couple of fish off the back of the boat, and I hope you guys like hearing me rant about a couple of my favorite rods. If you guys are looking to get into walleye fishing, looking to pick up some rods, absolutely check that Mojo Bass out and that Piscifun Carbon X 2000. You guys won't be disappointed. Thanks for watching.
We have a ton more videos coming, so stay tuned.
We do. Thanks, Mitchell.